All right, so for my photographer presentation, I chose Annie Leibovitz. Annie was born October 2nd, 1949 in Waterbury, Connecticut. Her father had a career in the military and her mother was a dancer. In 1967, Leibovitz was 18 years old and she was living in the Philippines with her family because of her father's military career. That's when she decided to enroll in the San Francisco Art Institute. She originally wanted to be a painter, but after taking a night class in photography, quickly fell in love with it. While she was still a student, she got a job at Rolling Stone magazine in 1970. Now, this is more realistic at the time because Rolling Stone was just a startup rock music magazine. It wasn't nearly as big as it is today. She was a staff photographer at the magazine, and 3 years later, in 1973, she was promoted to chief photographer, a position she held for the next decade. Her position with the magazine gave her the opportunity to travel with the actual Rolling Stones band for their 1975 international tour. She was only 23, so that is extremely badass, and I am very jealous of her. Also, before she was even promoted at Rolling Stones, she was given an assignment to photograph John Lennon. She was only 22 years old, and the Beatles had already broken up at that time, so he was huge. In December of 1980, Leibovitz was assigned to take portraits of John Lennon again. So this photograph, the one here to the left, was one of the reasons I chose her as my photographer. I've grown up looking at this photo, thinking how bizarre it is, but how very personal it is at the same time. And I've always been really impressed with the photographer for getting John Lennon to get completely naked and wrap around his partner at the time, Yoko Ono, in such a fetal position. She was originally sent to just get a photo of John, but he refused to be photographed without Yoko, and Yoko also refused to undress, which is why there's only one of them naked. A crazy fact about this photo was that it was taken just hours before John Lennon's assassination outside of the Dakota, their apartment building in New York. And it was the cover for Rolling Stones after his death, so that's what made this photo so heartbreaking and memorable. So in 1983, Annie left Rolling Stone and began working for Vanity Fair. I chose to discuss this photo because I think it's interesting for a number of reasons. Meryl Streep felt uncomfortable with having her portrait taken, apparently, which is bizarre because she was already a well-known celebrity at the time. But so they decided to paint her face with mime makeup to make her feel more comfortable. This wasn't planned ahead of time, but it definitely adds to the photo's uniqueness. And it also helps further the message that the photo is trying to send about female expectations and manipulations in Hollywood. I love this photo of Whoopi Goldberg, 1984, because it has so much personality. But fun fact, this photo was actually taken as Whoopi slipped into the bath. The inspiration for this photo was Whoopi's racially charged comedy routines that she did in the past. So that's another awesome thing. I love the angle and I love the stark contrast between her skin and then the thick milk. Very cool. I love this photo of Gwyneth Paltrow and Blythe Danner, that's her mom, because it feels very authentic. It has such simple body language, but the body language is so strong and so natural. In my opinion, it perfectly conveys the relationship between mother and daughter. The tight embrace from behind gives me a sense of security just staring at the photo. Gwyneth's face gives off such a feeling of ease and comfort, while her mother's gives off more of a protective but proud and very caring expression. For all of you Kendrick Lamar fans out there, I chose this photo because of how recent it was. I was really impressed with the photo because using a projector can be quite difficult, especially when you want to make the subject's face and the image on the projector still clear. But with this photo, I'm still not exactly sure what it is about the photo, but it feels like real Kendrick blends so perfectly into the background. It's got to be a mix of the neutral colored clothes that he's wearing and then the height at which they projected his face in the background, but it just really, really works together. His face also looks so raw, so I wonder what she does behind the camera to get the subjects to feel so at ease. Here are two of my favorite quotes by her. You can read those, and I'll just talk. I love portrait photography, so that's definitely one of the things that drew me to Annie Leibovitz. Her photos really give the audience a raw, deep look into the subjects. And it's wonderful because we already feel like we know them so well because they're celebrities and we admire them so much, but we really don't get to see them off screen. So it's really nice to be able to see them as themselves. It's very interesting. And she does a wonderful job portraying them as they are. Yep, and that's the end of the presentation. So I hope everyone is staying safe and inside and healthy, and I'm excited to see your presentations. Thank you.